What's up, comic book fans? This is Mark, and this is another Comic Cruise review for the last week of June of 2010. I got a whole bunch of comic books, but they're all DC. So Marvel fans, I'm sorry, nothing from Marvel came out that interested me. So we're stuck with DC. And let's start off with Gotham City Sirens number 13. The last issue was great. I love the new direction. This issue, it didn't feel right. I don't know if it was the dialogue or just the setting, but I don't know what they're trying to do with Selena Kyle's sister. Are they trying to make her a good guy, a bad guy, a crazy nut job? What's going on? Maybe it's just me. I didn't really like it that much, but it is the end of that story. So, was it a good ending? I don't know. It just didn't feel right. Maybe the next issue will be great, but this one kind of fell short for me. As well as, this is the only Gotham City Sirens that does not have Poison Ivy in it, which is weird, but hey, I have to give this a 7 out of 10. Wonder Woman 600. I know what you're thinking. I only bought this because it's 600. And you're right, because none of these stories were really great. The art in here was fantastic though, and the prelogue, I guess, to the next big storyline for Wonder Woman is in here, and I gotta say, is it just me or did it feel like Terminator, Salvation, and Wonder Woman combined? Plus she has this new getup with, you know, a leather jacket and stuff, which would be fine, but it's not showing enough skin. That's just me. I gotta give this a 7.5 out of 10. The big reason why I really didn't like this is because it was $5. It was not worth that much. It wasn't. So, yeah. Action Comics number 890. Yeah, there's that many. And this has to deal with the aftermath of Blackest Night with Lex Luthor. And I gotta say, this dragged. This dragged a ton. Was it interesting? Yes, but it suffered from slow pacing. And because of that, it kind of gets you out of the story a little bit. Plus, the artwork didn't feel like it should be in this comic. I felt like it should have had a little more realistic art, and not this fadey comic book art. That's just me. All in all, this was okay. If you're not buying Blackest Night and you have no interest in Blackest Night anymore, don't get this. But if you're like me, and you like Green Lantern, and you like The Flash, and you're interested about Brightest Day, and you love Blackest Night, I would say pick this up. I have to give this also a 7 out of 10. The Flash, number 3. Now, the last issue I thought was kind of crazy and slow. The pacing wasn't that great, and this one, the pacing picked up. But we are left with a lot less action. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Barry Allen the main character and not the Flash. Problem is, though, when you're trying to get into the Flash and you're trying to get new readers into it, you're gonna bore them. Me, I liked it, but I know if a new reader of The Flash would just pick up this comic, they would probably be bored out of their mind. That's just me. I do like the CSI element to this, but once again, it does drag a little, which is kind of funny because The Flash is supposed to be fast, and I know the story is somewhat not going as fast as I want it to. But it does leave us with a cliffhanger where we're going to probably see a lot more action, seeing that there's a versus in the next storyline. So, there you go. I have to give this a solid 8 out of 10. CLAYFACE. This is one shot in the Joker's Asylum number 2. Now, last week's comic of the week was the Killer Croc one shot, which I absolutely love. And probably could be the comic of the month. You gotta check out the website to find out. But, yeah, this one wasn't as great. And the reason why is the art. The art, and there's a couple other reasons. The art wasn't bad, it didn't, the lines that were drawn in here were too thick. It didn't feel right. It felt not cartoony, but really messy. And I know that's probably what they're trying to get at, because Clayface is, you know, clay, he's mud, so it has to be dirty. I didn't like the character design for Clayface either. Too muddy. I like the crisp look of a character and not just smears, which this kind of felt like. We got a lot more Batman in this than I would like, seeing that the other Joker's Asylums were mostly about the character that it's about. This one was more or less just a Batman comic. Which disappoints me because Clayface is my favorite villain. And to me, they kind of ruined this one. All the other ones were way better in my opinion. But storyline, not thinking of the other Joker's Asylums, this was good. I gotta give this a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe if I wasn't a Clayface fan, maybe I would like it a lot more. But I think that this series kind of left on a bad note. That's just me. If you bought the rest of them, I would say buy this. They are one-shot, so it doesn't really matter. But, I mean, if you're a Clayface fan, maybe you won't like this as much. That's just me. Now for the comic of the week, and I know people are getting pissed that this keeps getting the comic of the week, but guess what? It's the best comic. It's the best comic for the entire week. Why? We get Green Lantern and Atrocitus going against Lobo. And I know that there's tons of fans out there that hate Lobo, and tons of fans that do. Guess what? If you're not a Lobo fan, you'll love what they're doing with this character. The art in here is so crisp. Doug Mackey does a fantastic job. And there's so much detail in this. The battle sequences are great. And it kind of gives you that feel of Blackest Night, the action that was in it. It's kind of like that. And that's why this comic is probably the best one that came out right after Blackest Night, for Green Lantern at least. Very exciting. I loved it a lot. And the thing that happens at the end, the big twist, I'm not going to say what it was, but it threw me for a loop. Also at the end we get an origin of Dexter, one of my favorite Red Lanterns, and we find out why he's so pissed. I'm not telling you, you gotta pick up the comic. So those are all the comics for this week. Check out the website comiccrazyreviews.webs.com. You can see my written reviews, Boxing Type X's toy reviews, Blue Goblin's written reviews, as well as Brendan Hex's Hex vlog. So check that out. And like I say every week, I'll see you next week, and keep reading those comics. Peace out!